Welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at Everdell Farshore. This is a 1 to 4 player hand management worker placement game set in the Everdell universe. Now let's take a look at the components. You have the main game board. Across the top of the board you have season references for spring, summer, and autumn. Below that you have the dunes. These will contain your map tiles. To the right you have spaces for your windrose tiles. Below that are your resource action spaces. On the left side is your docks. On the right side is your lookout. In the middle of the water will be where you have your main deck. At the bottom you have the bay, which will consist of island tiles. And then around the outside is your ship track, your lighthouse, the main deck cards. On the cards you have a depiction, cost, color or type, name, point value, and under that you have the effects and the quantity in the deck. For solo components, you have reference cards, route cards, weather cards, and plan card, color markers, windrose tiles, island tiles, map tiles, treasure tokens, anchor tokens, shell point tokens, resources, driftwood, seaweed, sea stones, and mushrooms, ships, critter meeples, and then finally, your rulebook. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a 3-player game which takes 9 steps. Step 1, set up the board. Place the game board and lighthouse in the center of the play area. Then you'll place the resources on their corresponding spaces and pools for shells and treasure tokens next to the board. Step 2, sort and place map tiles. Sort the map tiles by type and stack in ascending order with 2 on top, and you'll place them on the 6 corresponding spaces on the main board. For a 2-player game, you will use 2 and 1. For a 3-player game, you'll use 2, 1, and 0. And then for a 4-player game, you'll use them all. Step 3, place island tiles. Shuffle the island tiles face down and then select and place 1 per player. Step 4, shuffle and place windrose tiles. Separate the tiles into stacks for A and B. Then shuffle each stack face down and place them on their corresponding spots, and then reveal the top tile of each stack. Step 5, shuffle and place the main deck. Shuffle the main deck cards and place them to the left side of the lighthouse and draw the top 8 to place in the bay. Keep in mind that duplicates are stacked on top of one another and another one is drawn. Step 6, create a discard pile to the right of the lighthouse face down. Step 7, get starting hand. You will choose a first player. The first player is the one who is the saltiest player, and then in turn order, you will get a hand of cards. The first player will get 5, second player 6, third player 7, and the fourth player 8, keeping your hand secret. Keep in mind that you get 1 redo for a fresh new starting hand. Step 8, get player components. Choose a color and get the corresponding ship and critters. You'll place the ship on the start ship location, 2 critters in your player area, 1 critter in your ship, and 3 critters on the lighthouse. And then step 9, get 3 anchors. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. The game takes place over 3 seasons or rounds. During each season, in turn order, you will take one of 3 possible actions. Place a worker, play a card, or prepare for the next season. Now let's look at each action in detail. Placing a worker. You would place a worker on any open webbed foot symbol space on the board, or on your own paw cards. Then you'll perform the action immediately. Islands are more rewarding, but only open while it is face up. Shoreline locations will give you resources. Docks can have any number of workers to discard 3 cards for 3 resources. The lookout can have any number of workers to discard and draw back up to your hand limit from the deck or the bay, and you'll refill when you're finished. And you will use the dunes to gain a map tile. Once you've placed your worker and carried out the action, it would go to the next player's turn. The second type of action, play a card. You would play 1 card, paying the cost on the left, and placing it in your city in front of you. These are from your hand or the bay. You would refill the bay when you are done. Keep in mind that anchors allow you to build for free. You would place the anchor on the card in your city with the same icon. Keep in mind that you can only have 15 cards in your city and your hand limit is 8. If the played card matches 1 or 2 of the windrose tiles, you may move your ship 1 or 2 spaces on the ship track. If you land on a space with a treasure, you would get a treasure token to use for a resource or 2 points at the end of the game. There are 5 types of cards. You have production, which are the green, and these activate immediately when played, and activate when you prepare for spring and for autumn. Traveler, or yellow, these activate only immediately when they are played. Governance, or blue, these activate as described on the card, granting bonuses when you play the cards or perform actions. Destination, or pause, which are red, you may place your worker on these cards in your city to activate them. Keep in mind that these do not activate when they are played. And then prosperity, or purple, and these are worth points at the end of the game. Once you finish playing the card, it would go to the next player's turn. The third type of action, prepare for the next season. When you place all of your workers and play all the cards you would like to, then you must prepare for the next season. You would carry out 4 steps. Step 1, retrieve all workers. Step 2, gain 1 new worker. Step 3, gain the season bonus. And then for the last player to take this action, they would also take step 4, which is to take the season-specific game action. Then turns and seasons will continue until the end of autumn. When that occurs, your workers will remain on the board, but you won't get any cards or resources. When all players have finished, we go to the final scoring. During the final scoring, you will score all of your cards, bonus points, point tokens, treasure tiles, maps, and final ship location. And then the player with the most points wins Everdell Farshore.